don't know if you know this, that from 1930 to 1960, we introduced the first commercial jet plane.
Yes.
The Boeing
707.
707. And that was done in 1956, 7 or 8. 58. Okay. Do you know, by the way, that's within the next 30-year period, 1930 to 1960. Watch. Do you realize that the wingspan of the Boeing 707 is greater than the distance flown by the Wright brothers on their first flight?
That's awesome.
That's freaking, give it up for the Wright brothers. Yeah, okay.
And their sister. And their sister.
Tell me about their sister.
We'll find out. There's a great documentary coming out that she actually did most of the work.
As these things go.
As these things go. So,
was she the one who took the picture of them?
No.
Somebody's got to take the picture.
Hey,
wait, you left out that. Oh, also, we have an orbiting satellite.
Yes.
Okay.
Sputnik. What day? What day and what year was Sputnik? October 4th of 57.
1957. Yes. And before that, 10 years before that, we break the sound barrier.
Yes.
Now, if you said to the Wright brothers, hey, one day this will go fast enough, it'll be greater than the speed of sound, they'll laugh you out of Ohio.
Yeah.
So that's in those 30 years.
We get atomic power. Atomic
sorry.
bomb.
There's a world war. We crack the atom, and by the way, we discover plutonium, named after the object formerly known as a planet. And don't get me started on that.
Pluto back. Pluto.
Hold on. By the way,
So where do you stand on that, by the way? Yes or no?
No, it's not a matter of stance. It's a matter of what is true.
No.
Like, Peter, where do you stand on whether Earth is round? Yeah, it's not a stance. It's just the truth.
No, it's a definition.
Pluto had it coming. Pluto had it coming. Earth, our moon.
Dwarf moon, my butt.
Our moon.
Dwarf planet, I should say.
Who here is a Plutophile here? Raise your hand. Okay. Our moon has 5 times the mass of Pluto. I bet they never told you that, did they?
No.
Okay. Do you know more than half of Pluto's volume is ice? So that if it were brought to where Earth is right now, heat from the sun would evaporate that ice and it would have a tail. And that has no kind of behavior for a planet. Don't get me started.
Okay.
All right. So now.
I think we're in 1960.
But before then, I love the periodic table, and I just got to say this about it.
Okay.
When Herschel discovered the planet Uranus, and was finally named Uranus.
Properly pronounced.
Yeah. If you're older than 8 years old, you should say Uranus. Okay? You get a hall pass if you're younger than 8 to call it Uranus if you want. All right. So, this is the planet Uranus is discovered. Within a few years, a brand new element is discovered. Turns out to be unstable. We would use the term radioactive later on. But they named that after the new planet that was discovered. That was the element uranium, element 92.
Uranos, the sky.
Now watch.
Yeah.
Some years after that, 100 years after that, we discover another planet, and we name it Neptune. The next element in the periodic table, heavier than uranium, now number 93, was not yet named and not yet discovered until just after that planet. So they named that after the next planet, and that would be Neptunium. And there's element 94, not yet discovered, waiting its turn. The object formerly known as a planet called Pluto was discovered in 1930. Okay? Shortly after that, we discover element 94. It's named after the 9th planet, plutonium. So the periodic table preserves uranium, neptunium, and plutonium in sequence.
Nice.
With Pluto getting an element named on false pretense. Okay, so now, but here's the point. We discover plutonium in 1930. It is weaponized, turned into a bomb, and deployed 15 years later. Wow. That is the pace of what's going on at the time. The two bombs was a uranium bomb and a plutonium bomb. We knew uranium would work. We were not sure about plutonium. It was new boy on the block. And so that's what was tested at, as famously now portrayed in the film Oppenheimer. They tested the plutonium bomb, not the uranium bomb. And that's the one that then was dropped on Nagasaki. Point is, between 1930 and 1960, we cracked the atom, weaponized the atom, break the sound barrier, go into space. Oh my gosh, is there anything about 1960 that would be recognizable to anyone from 1930? I think not. Let's keep going.
So, 1960 to 1990. A lot.
Oh, yeah.
A lot.
Computers go from specialized room-sized equipment that serve the military and scientists to things you have on your desk. Standalone computers. This is something they got wrong in the movie 2001. Old timer here, when was the movie released? 1968. He's good. He's good. 1968, the vision of life in the year 2001. We all saw that. It was like, wow, that's how we'll be living in 2001. And in there, the main ship's computer was one huge computer. Because back then in 1968, if you want a more powerful computer, it had to be bigger. This whole idea that the computers get smaller and smaller and are carried on your hip, that's not a thought. Yeah. They're linearly extrapolating this.
They got sort of FaceTime in a tablet correct. A little bit.
Okay, we can cherry pick that and say, wow, look how brilliant they were. They got this correct. I can tell you this, that in 2001, there's a quote from someone from the Futurist, the magazine,
Arthur C. Clarke,
that says, in the year 2000, there'll be 50,000 people living and working in space. That was, maybe he was trying to think exponentially, but he definitely got that wrong, okay? In the year 2000, 3 people were living and working in space. So, space has a unique problem.
Yes, it's
where,
expensive.
Up until Sputnik launched, space was an inaccessible domain, and people imagined it would be centuries before we landed on the moon. When Sputnik was launched, everyone went into exponential mode, but they erred in the wrong way, and I'll tell you why in a minute. Kennedy announces we're going to the moon before the decade is out, and he said that at a time we didn't yet have a vessel that could launch and not blow up that was capable of carrying people.
It was prophetic.
This was a badass prediction.
It was.
Okay? Before the decade is out. All right. So, he says this. And then everyone who's trying to predict the future, we're on the moon by 1969, we'll be on Mars by 1980, 1985.
And of course, the Space Task Group, part of the White House, was predicting by 1984 that we would be going to Mars.
Yeah, but they were clueless. They were clueless.
On budgets.
No. Budget is irrelevant here for the reasons I will about to say.
Educate me.
The problem that, by the way, I wrote a whole other book on this. It was titled, when I submitted it, Failure to Launch, The Dreams and Delusions of Space Enthusiasts, because the predictions never matched the reality. And the publisher said, no, we can't have delusion and failure in the title, so it got reworded, Space Chronicles Facing the Ultimate Frontier. Took all the teeth out of the title. Here's the problem. Everyone naively presumed, well, we're Americans and we're explorers, that's why we're going to the moon. And this is a natural progression of exploration. And at no time did anyone ask themselves, why are we doing it? They presumed it's because it's in our DNA. No, it may be in our DNA, but it doesn't happen unless somebody pays for it. And who's going to pay for it? Not just anybody, not just the National Science Foundation, not just NASA. It's somebody's got to write the check. Who's going to write the check? Congress. And so when Kennedy says, we'll put a man on the moon and return him safely to Earth, we think that's the stirring rhetoric of a future-thinking young president. So
that's my favorite request on stage. Can you give us a prediction for 2050?
I'll still do it.
I can barely give a prediction for 2030.
I'll still do it, but I'm doing it in the spirit of how humbled I would be when the actual 2050 comes, based on what I've researched for the past 150 years. So I'm going to make 3 predictions. I'm going to make 3 predictions. 1, we will have designer drugs. They'll analyze your genome, find drugs that will have no side effects for you. Why do we have to be a statistic in the reported side effects? You know, I'm not very side effect prone, so I generally ignore that, but many people are. So figure that out, medical community, so that there are no side effects. Have the medicine do only what it's supposed to do. Don't make it make you throw up or give you diarrhea or depressive thoughts or rashes. Fix that. Okay, that's 1. 2, I think in the not too distant future, all cars on the road will be self-driving electric. And you say, no, that can't be. No, because we went from horses to cars in 10 years. I'm just talking about going from cars to another kind of car. That can surely be less time than going from horses to cars. Self-driving, but you know how you start that? Only self-driving cars in the HOV lane. Then these cars know where all the other cars are. If you want to change lanes, it tells the other car, I'm changing lanes now. They part, it changes lanes. And they can even text and drive at the same time with no loss of their acuity on the road because they're freaking electric computers. And they can drive 120 miles an hour with 2 cars distance between them because there's not going to be something they don't anticipate. And so once you see that, cutting down your travel time, I think it's going to go quickly. And but you're a car enthusiast. What do? I'd like my classic car. There'll be car parks for you to drive them. Is that any different from people who like riding horses and you go to the stables and ride horses? It's a quaint memory of a bucolic past. So you've got your Ferrari, whatever. You park it at the car park. You'll take an electric car to get there, and you can do your thing as people who ride horses. So I see that happening. Last thing, I'd like to see space. People ask, where should we go next in space? All of space. Why does it have to be a next destination? When we built the interstate system, which to the tune of $100 billion, by the way, about the same as going to the moon, what drove that? Well, war drove that. What's the other name for the interstate system? Old timer? Oh, he's scratching his head. The Eisenhower interstate system. He went to Europe in the Second World War, saw the Autobahn survive under rain and snow, and tanks could roll over without it falling off the side of the road. He says, I want that in my country as a defense project. And so the initial monies for that all came from the defense. Were informed by our posture as a country that didn't want to get invaded and wanted to keep our military ready and you may know, the interstate system doesn't go over mountains, it goes through them. And after every distance, there's a certain stretch that is straight so that you can land an airplane on it if you had to. It is to military specs. That's how that money got dislodged. So I'm saying, when you build the interstate, you don't build, let's just go from New York to LA. No, give people choices. So you send the interstate everywhere, let people's creativity take them to wherever they want to start whatever businesses they want or have whatever free life they want to lead in a country that we still think is free. And so when I think of space, I think of not a rocket to go here or there, get a warehouse of sort of strap-on boosters, and I say, I want to do science on the backside of this comet that's coming through. We need these 3 boosters and this rocket, and we'll schedule the launch in 3 months. Think about that. Then the entire solar system becomes our backyard. And it's not this other place. It is we'll have a relationship with it. And yeah, let's mine some asteroids. We have wars on Earth over the limited access to resources that are plentiful in the universe, in our own backyard. The future of space is one where an entire category of warfare will be rendered obsolete because access to resources will be unlimited. We'll still fight over which gods you worship or what your skin color is, probably, but this category of war would be gone forever. If the entire solar system had lanes that you would take and you decided where you wanted to go and it wasn't something, a single national destination.